So third rail is about a group of ordinary people like you and me taking the train every day, and what happens is the train is hijacked. It was to explore something that was relatable to the everyman, and yet is a story that is unusual, because in Singapore, you would never think that something like this would happen. So in our show, we show the situation where a train is finally hijacked. So what would you do?
Stop! Or should I do? Go! I can go!
When my colleague pitched the concept in early 2019, I was like, okay, let's pitch for it. But in my heart, I was thinking, oh, they won't pick this up because this is an ultra ambitious project.
I do recall having a sense of anxiety, of anxiousness when the concept was presented. Why? Because the stories and all were so relatable, and because of the setting that's set locally in a train, and me being a public commuter myself, I can relate to how the events in the story of the series might happen if we take security for granted.
Keep moving. First carriage to the first carriage.
After the project was awarded, we had to find out whether or not we could film the series on site. So we were thinking of filming either at unopened stations, news stations, but we were rejected because of various security and operational challenges.
One of the things that we were doing concurrently was to find a train. So we wrote to LTA, and then the minister was Minister Ong Ye Kung, and we were very pleasantly surprised when we wrote to him, and he replied and said, yes, how can I help you?
So very quickly, we entered a discussion with his LTA team on the possibility of securing the decommissioned trains for our filming purposes. We had gotten the train fairly quickly from the authorities, but the issue that we faced was where we were going to house the train.
We looked for all kinds of locations, warehouses, factories and all that, all over Singapore. Finally, one of my friends who work in SIA said, hey, Jean, why don't you look at the place that we run the air show? You know, it's COVID now, it's empty.
And this year in Singapore, apparently welcomes recently launched A350 freighter.
It might be a very suitable spot for our train. So we went down for several recce's with our team to take a look at the space, and we were really, really happy to see that it was such a big, wide space that was available where we could house the train safely. After we secured the venue, the next important step was to figure out how we're going to move the trains from Tuas all the way to Changi. We had to think about how we are going to fit or move our train into the exhibition hall, because the train has to be on tracks for it to be safe for us to work in.
We are one of the few contractors in Singapore who are quite specialized in railway track, with installation of track work, installation of power rails.
It wasn't something that he does on a regular basis, renting his sleepers and rails out for filming purposes. He and his team were really game to help us along. Concrete sleepers are actually big rectangular slabs of 260 kg of concrete, and you have to lay them out for you to put the rails along.
It's about 4 days completely installed the rails for 135 meters rails.
After that was done, the trains were actually waiting at the depot to be shifted to Changi. The trains can only be transported at night for the safety of everyone. I think on that day, we all were feeling like it was just surreal because after talking about getting the train for months and months, we are finally seeing some action.
Tonight is when we are finally moving this train from the Tuas Depot all the way to Changi Exhibition Centre, which is the other end of Singapore.
I think it's safe to say that no one in our company has actually gotten trains shifted around in Singapore before. We didn't know the level of details that were required for even the clearance of the route.
挑战性是这个是超高的一个货，是4.5以上的，就是现在的货是4.9。
We found out that the transport company had to send someone to measure the height of all the bridges that the vehicles will go past.
大致上是问题是在桥那边，桥有些桥是蛮低的，有些树也是蛮低的，所以司机会比较小心的过那些树啊跟那个桥的底下面过咯，就比较慢一点啦。
For our team of Cisco drivers to escort the train through the whole of Singapore is, for me, very moving because it's the result of 2 years' work.
After 2 hours of traveling on the roads, our trains finally arrived at Changi Exhibition Centre. And when we saw the trains entering the gate, I think we just felt a huge sense of relief that, look, our trains are finally home.
Yeah, as a commissioner, I thought we were never going to get here. Seeing it in reality is surreal is the word that comes to my mind.
To see them being transported out of the depot into a space like Changi Exhibition Centre, one will never ever be able to see such a thing like this again ever. So I think to see that happening, it's quite jaw-dropping actually.
So the morning after the trains arrived was the lifting of the trains onto the rails and shifting it into the hall itself.
So I said, any cars? I just casually asked, anybody wants to come down and take a look? And surprisingly, a whole gang of them turned up.
Wow, when I saw it, it was like, it's like a dream come true. I mean, thinking about it is like a movie set, right? And I feel at the same time very fortunate to be part of this whole project.
So getting to see it now and just how huge it actually is.
I've never seen the MRT train from this angle. Can you guess which line this is? I'm guessing east-west. You got a sharp eye, what do you think?
I think we definitely have our work cut out for us in terms of like running from one carriage to another because obviously it's a very action-packed show. I'm nervous, but a good kind of nervous. I mean, look at this. Look at how many people it takes to get our set together. This is crazy. This has never been done in Singapore before. This is a part of history right here.
Wow, the casting, we had like Rebecca in mind, we had like Amanda in mind for certain roles. Some very strong actors from like Benjamin Hing, Jason Godfrey, Carla, many of them.
When Jean hit me up for the role, I was like, okay, I'm in, I'm down, I'm excited. Didn't have any character or script, nothing. I just told her I'm in because I wanted to be a part of it.
All right.
I am extremely grateful that Jean called me up for this. It actually is a little bit of a funny story because the last thing that I did with her was Last Madame, and I was playing one of the prostitutes. And here I am playing another high-class social escort. So it's funny. I hope I'm not being typecast. I am actually very happy because there's a lot of meat to this character.
Oh my God.
I play Jerry. So she is unfortunately taken hostage in a train.
You. Get up.
And she is someone who will go all the way to help someone in need.
Thank you.
So I would say she's the heroine in the entire series. But as the series progresses, it's going to get more and more exciting.
I played a character called Jana. I'm an intelligence officer. Very challenging for me because my hair. I'm a very vain person, but then as Jana, I've got no makeup on. Do I make myself clear? She's on the spectrum. She's got no emotions at all. Which is super challenging for me because I'm so full of expression.
Very nice.
That's all I like about my character.
You.
你没？
看 camera 这边。
Thank you.
Mark.
Mark.
Okay, out.
Worst clapper.
He's the
Stand by.
That's the one. That's the one.
There are 3 key sets in our show. The first key set, of course, is the train and tunnel. A second set, of course, is here, is the Operations Control Center. And the third set that we have is the digital set.
Since third year is about terrorism on the train, we need an operation center in order to coordinate the rescue and to manage the crisis. The operation center became a critical set of the show. We researched online on YouTube. We found that most of the operation center are quite bland and plain, so we wanted to come out with something different with brighter colors and like more cyberpunk. So this is the result.
From the top. Yeah, I'm not there.
For the operation control scene, we have a screen replacements. So that's why we have a big screens that is to show the schematics of the trains moving. We need to get a lot of graphic involved, so we need to replace everything.
Okay, call out real-time surveillance now. Hurry up, come on.
We never imagined we'd be building an entire tunnel. The thing is, we couldn't find a venue that, you know, allow us to shoot in a real tunnel or any makeshift tunnel. There's no way. And in order to do this show, we never budgeted the tunnel in. So the only solution now that we have a train is to build a tunnel.
我们今天的工作主要就是把这些 round 的单呢，给它组合起来。这个单呢，我们是用3架板做的，不过我们要考虑到就是它的 safety。一般上因为是 round 的，所以上面的承受的重量不可以太重，最主要是两边 support 这个 round 板呢的重量。所以我们在这里左右两边都是比较 胖的一个类型，就是它的骨架都是比较胖。上面呢，我们用的都是比较小一点的 plywood 来做。这个单呢是一个蛮大的一个 setting， 总长差不多150米，当然感觉到非常的压力。我们 within 这个 budget 来做这个单，其实真的是不容易。
这个地方 第一是很大，它没有通风，里面很闷热，连我们东西又重又高又大，连员工你知道我们是用劳力的，一直钢啊台啊钢台，他们肯定会吃不消的。整个 hall 这么大，就是苦在这边呐、一直喝水流汗，就是这样啊。
These workers, they are amazing. They also work in very tough conditions. It's amazing how many people's hard work went into this tunnel. And it's made of wood, like I said, that has to look like concrete. And To arch the wood itself is engineering in itself. It's not easy to bend the wood and keep it bent for like 7 months.
那个绑的时候啊，因为我们上时候啊，如果不平均啊，我们一上啊，那个板它会裂掉的。裂掉就要重做咯，对不对？对咯，这个就是麻烦在这里了。重新绑，重新打钉，就是花到时间在那边。 就是1、2天里面做没有几个，就是这个原因咯。
今天大致上是要装一套 aluminium 的 truss。truss 就是会架哦，不是会在演出的场所，for 那些演唱会啊，那些灯光，那些 LED 的 screen， 那些东西都是会有一些重量的。 它也可以 support 到很高的高度。
我们这个 truss 主要是用来吊我们这个 green screen。green screen 呢，主要我们就是 create 那些背景，比如说这个地铁、火车在行走的时候，外面的风景，我们这边不可能有风景嘛，所以我们就 key 进去这个风景来做它的 background。 特别效果的场面，我们都要用这个 green screen 的那个 chroma key effect 来做制造这个效果。
We had the train, we built the tunnel. We don't have the platforms. We'll create it in CGI, which is the other big challenge for third rail. I think we had Singapore's biggest green screen ever.
我在做那个玩意儿，先给那个电子板跑一下子 ，testing 先。我第一次参与这个拍戏的工作哦，这个拍戏的是蛮有挑战性的啦，很多东西我们没有做过的，我们只是说去尝试，就知道这个东西是大概是要怎么样的东西。
The challenges that when we got a decommissioned train, really nothing was working. No aircon, no electricity, no lights, no nothing. So everything that you see that's lit up on the train, whether it's almost like what you see here, is all put in by our crew, is put in by our production designer, our art director.
Today we're pre-lighting the train. So what we're doing is actually setting up the lights before we even start shoot. So it saves us a lot of trouble instead of having to light every day for every scene. One shot, we light everything. And then it's just minimal lighting on the day of shoot.
So for the lightings, we make sure that all the green screens light up equally. For interior, for the train, make sure they have lights coming from the outside to show that it's from outside elevators, train platform.
Yeah. How the train has been moving through the different parts. So we have to simulate the sunlight and then all the shadows that is moving across. Basically, when you're in the train, you can see different view and then you get different kind of lighting throughout your journey. So that is what we are doing now.
Yeah, I feel a bit stressing, so I need to think properly, sir.
Brother, no problem, come.
One person that was my frequent collaborator is my stuntman Yang Guang.
大家好，我是杨光。我在《德瑞》这部戏里担任的是武术指导。开拍之前，我们都有召集一些演员回来做一些小训练。
所以我们今天要推他们，让他们有那个身世、那个行过哪嘎丁，哪嘎丁就我们所谓的新加坡的飞虎队。
Actually, one of the things I was looking forward to when I found out that I got this role was the stunt training that we'll be going through. Because I feel like all these tactical movements that special forces people do are very interesting. So learning the process of these detailed planned executions are something that not everyone gets to experience and learn.
So basically what I learned today is on how to hold a rifle as well as a pistol, as well as the movements, how to sync everything together.
Go up, go.
Oh, sorry sir. Have to say difficult because I've never had experience actually holding a gun or even doing such things like this. I was from SCDF, I was a firefighter. Maybe movement-wise, there were certain movements that we had to do while holding the muzzle, but it's a bit different from what I did today.
Then that will go.
I've been through the army before, but what we've done in the army is pretty different because I was in a very normal part of the army, but what we learned today is slightly, I would say, more intricate, more special because it is, in a way, representing Star Team, right? So it's a lot more professional, in my opinion.
Like this lah.
我们今天训练他们是 有教一些他们怎么动、怎么走法。其实真正是他们怎么进入那个地铁去攻击那些恐怖分子。我参与这个 third rail 有点兴奋，就是从来没有试过，真的有个地铁给我们用。因为以前我们要求地铁只是借用地铁站，都不会批准的。
Stop, or she dies.
今天是我第一场戏，就是 Rebecca 在 MRT 上面做一个色狼。
My character had an altercation with Rebecca's character, and we got into a bit of a fist fight. And in the very first scene, I have to be manhandled by her, so it's a very interesting experience.
Ow! Get away from me! Sick! Ow!
今天我来到这个现场，有点新鲜感的感觉，就是我们很少会在地铁里面拍打斗戏，觉得蛮刺激的了。然后我的演员也可以自己做动作，这些啊撞啊摔，他们都可以自己来。
But you better be careful about accusing people, unless you want to end up in court. Ow! Ow!
So far, the scenes has been turning out very well, especially this action scene. Let's go, yeah. As a director, I think shooting action scenes is always very tough. It has to actually give audience a good experience, you know, they have to feel the suspense at the same time, feel excited watching the scene. So as a director, we have to factor in all this and then elevate the action scene to a different level.
This is an ex-MRT train which we transform, we make it more flashy. Usually on the trains you don't see like colorful stickers that indicate the wagon number. This is the map, station map. We have renamed it such that you still can relate to the station. Like for example, Istana is actually Dhoby Ghaut and Dynasty is actually Orchard because it's at the ex-Dynasty Hotel. So the audience can still relate to the actual places but not actually using the actual names. Some are really not real names, like Lagi Ulu, which is very Ulu, and Ulu Ulu. It's a brand new experience to design a vehicle. Usually we will design like homes and offices. This is a whole new thing for me.
This show is supposed to be less than a day. The whole hijack only took less than 24 hours. So it means that all 12 episodes, all of them have to wear the same set of clothes, right?
My name is Coco. 我是 third rail 的 head of wardrobe. OK， 我从事这个行业大概有10年。我做过不同的类型的，一般上来讲，其实是年代跟古装是比较困难，但是这个 third rail 它虽然是时装剧，可是它的难度是超大的，它包括东西太多了。因为他们拍的时候，可能每天都会在那个 train 里面，有可能他们拍的时候需要连续1个礼拜，所以因为卫生的问题，所以我们会准备至少3到4套让他们替换同样的衣服，因为有的可能有流血啦，有受伤啦，所以我们还是准备额外的给他们可以替换。很多衣服我们是新买的。可是全部人都穿新衣很奇怪，所以我们就要把它弄旧、弄黄、弄破啊，包括鞋子这些啊，那个花了很多的时间跟精神。Okay, we are going to make the wardrobe like warm. Okay, 我们用茶把那个衣服弄黄，然后那个鞋子啦，我们要用那个锉把它那个鞋子那个 polish 跟它刷掉，给它不会这么亮，它看起来就比较旧。挺多工作做，而且花很多时间。Colors is quite nice. 虽然这部戏我们大家都做得很辛苦，我觉得挺有挑战性的。我是挺开心有这个机会做这部戏啊。
Today, we officially move into our massive train set. I think it's probably the biggest set ever built for a local Singapore production. And today we'll also be doing our lancing ceremony. I want to thank you for coming and to ask for blessings for a safe and smooth and happy shoot. Lancing ceremony is a very Asian thing. I think it probably started in Hong Kong, where you have like a prayer ceremony to ask the gods for good luck. It became a tradition, and so it's not so much a religion as much as like an auspicious start. Everybody turned up, our crew turned up, almost the entire cast turned up.
So for the lancing ceremony, I thought it was really nice. It's just nice to have this opening ceremony to really kick off this set that we have here.
I think it's a very good opening, and it kind of brings everyone together because I haven't met anyone.
Well, I'm feeling really excited because I've seen the set and it looks wonderful, it looks majestic. It's the first time I'm seeing such a huge set.
I'm very, very excited, even though I don't really look like it because the weather is just crazy. I think it's very groundbreaking. It's going to be so epic for this production.
Once you are here and you're confronted by the size of the train, the size of the set, it's very overwhelming. It's very clear that nothing like this has been done before.
Today was the first time I think I've seen like this much of the cast together. Yeah, it's cool to see everybody as themselves.
Okay, today there's also a test shoot. I think you've seen part of the tunnel that has been built, but before we can build the entire tunnel, we need to do the special effects stuff. We have quite a few scenes that we're using CGI, and these are very difficult CGI. It will create the impression of the train moving when it's stationary, where the exterior of the train is all CGI.
Remember last year's challenge when William had to throw dog shit at a cleaner?
And he dropped it halfway himself.
Challenge when William had to throw dog shit at a cleaner?
The stress level is here. Here, okay? Never done this before. Everything. The heat in the train, the number of people we're dealing with. I feel like if I screw up, it's letting the whole world down.
Let's go for one more.
And action.
I'm appease. I'm one of the VFX compositors for Star Wars Mandalorian. And now I'm a VFX supervisor for Third Rail. For computer-generated shot, we need to have a realistic texture, a realistic model, and then we need to have a realistic motion blur and the sparks. So everything must be in the picture to make it believable. For the background scene, we did a manual shoot on random Singapore location, and then the moving image will be put afterwards. For the established shot, they use DJI drone. On that area, we need to put the MRT station there. I did put the CG train on the track.
It's been a long day. It's also my first time working in a green screen setting like this, so it's very technical. It takes a lot of time to set up.
For the MRT sequence, we managed to create our own MRT station. We did model it in 3D software. For the architecture loop, we model it from pillar to top roof, and then we do the sizing, everything. So we did some texture detail on every angle in the MRT station.
There were a lot of imagination from the actor's point of view because there's nothing going on, it's just a green screen. And of course, if there was a real train, there were real people walking around, that would add to the atmosphere. So the imagination part is the challenging part of this series, I would say.
I can feel it building inside.
It's a huge learning curve for me because it was a case of we knew we had to use a certain level of CGI, but we didn't know that we were going to use so much of it. We didn't know we were going to have to build a whole train platform. We're going to have to build a whole train station in CGI.
Action. The next shot is basically our big impact shot. It's basically of the camera flying through the tunnel, coming to a stop just before the train, yeah, boom.
Yeah, the money shots.
explosion shot, we need to use some technical term they call fluid dynamic animation to generate the fire simulation on the picture. Other than fire, they have these mirror cracks, mirror explosion, debris. So for that shot only, we are doing it for 1 month to finish it.
I can safely say it's the series with the most CGI of any dramas that we've produced in the last maybe 40 years.
For the train wreck, I add more disaster images like a wire falling down here and then spark everywhere and then fire, debris, shatter, crack everywhere. The hard part for that shot is to texture the burn part. After we did the demolishing model, we need to paint, brush all those edges on the train. So for that shot, we did for 2 months to create it, from the model to the final. It was one toughest shot for me.
It started out when we were a bit naive. We pitched this idea of a terrorist hostage takeover on a train, thinking that we could shoot on a real train.
Seeing the train in Changi Exhibition Centre itself was one jaw-dropping moment. Second jaw-dropping moment was seeing the tunnel being constructed around the train. I have to say that the realism and the detail that the set designers and constructors put into the set is wow. Everything's all made of wood, but it doesn't look like it's made of wood. It really looks like concrete for the tunnels. It really looks like actual steel for parts of the tracks. Yeah, you just dim the lights a bit and it will actually look like an actual train within an actual train tunnel.
In May 2022, we received notification that there was one positive case of COVID within the cast.
COVID really screwed up a lot of our work. So it started with 2 and then 4 and then 6. The COVID cases grew to finally about 17 people, and we know this can't go on.
Initially, when there was news that a few crew members were infected, I was actually pretty confident that I wouldn't get it because I was always in a mask once they cut. And then I'm always sanitizing my hand.
Yeah. Are you okay?
They call me the monitor in class. When after the news broke that I tested positive. And yeah, I did not believe it. And then immediately I called Carla because we had scenes together the entire day. And I said, hey, I think you better get tested because I just got tested. And she's like, even you kena?
You're the most kiasu. You drive your car with your mask by yourself.
So we called for a stop for 7 days. We couldn't have afforded a 7-day, but still we had to do it.
Let's drop you a look at.
So after the 7 days, it was a disaster. Okay, so everybody come back, but what do we have to do now? We have to rush. This was at a point where we are already very behind in our schedule, and we had a deadline that we have to get out of the set. We have to strike the set. We're up against deadline of cast who has to leave the country to go back to wherever because they have another project. So what the scheduler did was we did a schedule overrun, which means we scheduled, instead of 12 hours, we were scheduling 15 hours or 16 hours. And that, after 4 or 5 days of that, it really took a toll on the cast, on the crew. And in the end, I said, stop. We're killing the cast. So these are the stress that we have to overcome and we have to solve. So what do? You talk to cast to see whether they can go back later. You pay money to extend the set.
Cut first.
So a lot of problem solving on a day-to-day basis.
Inside won't have the wound. I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely a struggle. I think,
Don't mess with Carla.
don't mess with me! Yeah, I mean, the hours were super long, there were days that we were doing 17, 18 hours, and I've never experienced that before.
So I think it was a very good realization of just how much this project requires from all of us. We're on a really tight deadline. We have to exit this premise by the first week of July. And that's just a couple of weeks away, and we actually still have quite a bit of time to film. So we're on the clock. I guess the good thing is everybody's in it together.
The last time I had a stretch of about 7 days non-stop of about between 14 to 16 hours a day. It has been very rough, honestly speaking. It is one of the roughest production I've ever been on.
Okay. So tell her now.
No, but seriously, I haven't seen my family in I don't know how long, because we've been filming every single day for super long hours. We can go up to like 18 hours. It's been a tough shoot. I wouldn't say the most grueling, but top 3 definitely. Because there's so much blood, tears and sweat that everybody has put behind this production. I mean, the crew, Jean, the cast members and everybody.
I still remember the most tiring day for me was on the 26th of April because I was fasting. And that was my first day here at CEC, and we overran. We had a total of 15 hours and I was happy that I didn't break my fast. I still managed to hold on to my fast, but that was just the most challenging day. Will not forget the 26th of April.
Me, Sardash, tomorrow is supposed to be the official last day, and the chances of me being able to be part of a production like this again in Singapore is going to be next to none. Just because look at it, man. Oh my god. Like, we're actually like in a warehouse where we'll film like an insanely big movie. We got a 140-meter long big tunnel, 2 train tracks inside. We got green screens, we got scaffolding. We're in Changi Exhibition Center, man. Like, it's nuts.
So once I got to see the filming conditions, obviously it's not air conditioned. In the area whereby there would be planes flying around, they had to do something to block out all the sound. In doing so, it also blocks out air circulation, therefore making the entire set rather stuffy and very uncomfortable. So once I got there, I got to appreciate the crew for the kind of discomfort that they have to go through, not just the crew, the cast as well, for them to endure that kind of condition whilst having to portray their characters. I can't imagine, but everyone really did put their A game on.
Today I'm excitedly waiting for the person who actually made it all possible. The whole team is very grateful to him, his minister, Ong Yi Kang. Welcome to Niaobu Shendan的地方. This is Andy, this is Rebecca.
You're all stars of the show.
The show would not have been possible if, the then Minister of Transport did not help us obtain a decommissioned train to be shot, and that's, I guess, start of everything. And as a thank you to him for being so supportive of the creative media industry, we invited him down when the set is all built. We've really shot for a couple of months, and we invited Min Ong to come down and see the result of his effort, to let him see what he's contributed to.
Hi guys, we're at the production set of a new series called The Third Rail. It's about a hijack situation on an MRT train. These are the production crew and the stars of the show, 12-part series. We are talking to Jinyo, the showrunner, director, producer of the show. Say something about the show.
Hi, Third Rail is the sweat and blood of all the crew, almost 300 crew and cast, and some of them are here. So please, we hope you can support the show.
Yeah, so take a look at the set, but remember, the MRT is very safe. I really hope, just like
what other Asian countries have done. You can bring forward our culture, our way of life in a very interesting mass appeal way. And I really look forward to the day where Singapore production can be featured in the world scene.
I hope somebody can see the power of what content can do for Singapore.
Keep moving. Just up ahead. I think this would definitely set the bar higher. It would serve as an aspiration for everyone in the local filmmaking community to produce dramas of such scale in hopes of, appealing to the international audience.
I think we have embarked on ambitious projects, but if you look at the scale and look at the story behind the production, I don't think we've ever done anything like that before. Doing it in Singapore of that scale, and also pushing the boundaries of the story at the, not just producing the big scale, but the story actually warranting something like that. I haven't seen something like that.
Looking back on third reel, it gives me actually a lot of confidence, and we actually can tackle a lot of things. It makes us stronger, I think, as a team, that we overcome and we manage to do a show of this scale at this level of difficulty with our budget. I'm very proud of the fact that everyone knew going in this is a very tough shoot, that everyone gave so much of themselves, their best.
Forward slightly. Okay. Forward a bit more.
400 or more people of hard work, if you include the carpenters, the tailors, the makeup artists, the people who wash the clothes every day after shoot. My goodness, yeah.